everybody. Welcome to the Open Heart Productions Podcast, episode number 7. And on this episode, we're talking about the reality series, Rednecks for Hire, that Mitch was a part of. He's going to tell us about how that went and how things were back then.
Well, we had mentioned at the end of the last episode that David Yelton had hit me up while I was on tour with Green Jello and was saying, hey man, we got a new show. David Yelton, he was the gentleman behind the Trailer Kings episode that I had done back in 2013. This was 4 years later, 2017. I hadn't spoken to him at all during that time. But he hit me up and said, hey, we got 5 episodes filmed, and we'll pay you $500 an episode to edit the episodes for us. And I'm like, yes, I need the money. Yes, please. Right. And so I got back from the tour, and David came over and met with me, and he said that they have a spot on the local TV stations and with the CW affiliate, so that they can, the time slot was going to be 12:30 on Sundays until 1 p.m. Every Sunday. Right. And he said, by the way, whenever he showed up at the house, he showed up with 6 SD cards in his hand, and none of them were labeled. Okay. No scripts, no notes, no nothing. He just handed me 5 SD cards and said, all right, man, you should have about 5 episodes on there. And by the way, we need the first episode done in 6 weeks because that's whenever it airs. I'm like, okay. So I went inside. I told him, I was like, did y'all record any interviews for any of these? Because that's one of the main components of a reality show is you got to have interviews with your subjects as well. And they're like, no, we didn't. I'm like, all right, well, let me look through all this and I'll figure out some questions to ask, and we'll get y'all over and we'll do this. And so I started going through all the footage, completely blind, no idea what I was going to get. And as I started going through all the files, my heart began to drop every single time I clicked on a file, because about 85 to 90% of all the footage on all those cards was out of focus. Oh, wow. Yeah, like it looked like somebody had taken their glasses off and you were seeing through their eyes. And that's not good. No. So after about a week of me going through and trying to piece everything together, I get a call from David saying, hey man, 2 things. One, how many episodes you got edited together so far? Because I was wrong. The debut isn't in 6 weeks, it's in 2 weeks. And great. Yeah. And we're gonna need 2 episodes ready because they're releasing an episode every week, so we need to stay a week ahead. And I was like, David, I hate to tell you this, bud, but you have got maybe 1 episode worth of stuff in here. Maybe 1, and I still need those.
And these are professionals.
I
wouldn't call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the show's called Rednecks for Hire.
Well, I get the name, but when you think of somebody that's affiliated with CW.
Well, see, I thought originally, since Brian Dunn had done Trailer Kings with them, I had thought that Brian Dunn was helping him film. Now, granted, David never said that to me. Right. I just assumed that, last time I saw you, you were working with Brian. So when I hit him, I was like, so who was your camera guy? And I don't remember. Oh, no, Jedediah had never touched that camera before. I'm like, well, it looks like he either had it set on autofocus and it was just not focusing on y'all, or there was no autofocus on and no attention was made to the focus. Right. So I was like, dude, if you want an episode in 2 weeks, y'all have got to come over to my house tomorrow and record y'all's interviews, and we gotta find something else to film around here just so that I can make up time. So they did, and the next day after they got done with the interviews, I had the episode ready to go. by the time we were done. And they're like, so what are we going to do about the second episode, man? We need another episode in a week. And I'm like, I asked, if Brian was doing anything for him. I said, no, we haven't worked with Brian since Trailer Kings. I'm like, well, all right. Well, how many sponsors do y'all have? And they had about 4 or 5 sponsors. And I was like, all right, well, I know that y'all are paying me out of the sponsor money. If y'all can free up about $200 or $300 more in the sponsor money, I can go out and get us some cameramen and a sound guy to come and actually like shoot something with y'all next week, and we have or this week,
right? And
we can have something ready for next week. And so they did. They gave me some money, and I hit up Sharky. He was the first person I hit up to come run camera and be on-site director. Because I couldn't always be on the sets, so
Shark. Some of you haven't listened to some of the other episodes. Sharky is somebody who was involved with Boo
and Near to Wells and all like the music videos that I had shot during that time. So it was Sharky, Stephen Norrid, and this guy named Chris Tomberlin, and that was the crew. And like literally, like they would shoot during the week. They shot like 2 more episodes. And then we did interviews, and then they brought them back, and I, shat out an episode of editing. And for the first season of the show, each season was about 9 episodes.
Okay.
So we were literally like filming an episode the week before it was supposed to air, which was highly stressful.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Highly stressful on me. Probably everybody else too. But I mean, we released the show, and it was, it was fun. One thing, as we all know, reality shows are not reality.
Right.
It's not. It's all scripted. It's all set up. None of that shit's real. None of it really happened.
Yep, reality's not real, like we said on the last episode. It's not.
Now, the one thing that I did like about these cats is that they didn't have scripts. They didn't have scripts. They didn't do setups. They didn't try to remember any kind of lines or words. Like, hey, once you blow this up, say this. No, they didn't do that. Like their whole thing was we're going to go book dirty jobs, and y'all just come and film it. And I did like that, it was like, oh, it actually really is reality. And
right.
But the problem with that is reality is pretty fucking boring sometimes.
Yeah, just like my dad when he was doing the True TV series, Black Gold. He said at the end of the day, when the TV crew was there, they would be on the way home in the car, and they would say, "Okay, all right, y'all just talk about something."
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And then I have to get like interviews with the guys, and all it was 3 rednecks the first season. It was David Yelton, Kevin Dodd, and Mike Myers. And I would, no matter what, I had to sit down with them after they did a job and do an interview with them, so I could get them to tell the story of what was happening on the job. David was always very easy to get stuff out of. He was very descriptive, and he understood the assignment. He knew it was a show. He clearly, was familiar with shows, so he knew how to give the interview to tell the story. Mike did a pretty good job of giving like some details and funny quips here and there. Kevin, it was like getting blood from a stone. I was like, all right, buddy, so what was the job? Well, Fred had a beaver dam in his backyard, and we went and blew it up.
And that was it.
Okay.
What did you do?
Yeah, what did you do? He's like, put the tannerite in there. And? Backed up and I shot it. Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Maybe we need a script.
Yeah. Mike, I need you to sit back down in here and give me some more detail.
Right.
And all of this, the whole first season, and something else cool that happened. Like I mentioned, there were 9 episodes per season. Around episode 7, of the first season, Charles Nail came in.
The clown from Boo.
The clown from Boo. He was still living in Monroe. He heard that I was doing a show, and he hit me up and was like, "Hey, man, can I be a part of the show?" And I'm like, "Man, dude, it's really not my show. It's David's show.
Right.
I'm just the editor, and I've been helping produce these episodes since no one knows what they're fucking doing." So I hit up David, asked him. He met with Charles, liked him, and from episode 7 on, Charles was the 4th redneck the rest of the time. Right. And we also had Kyle Simpson work on it too. Okay. Kyle did all the graphic editing and all, like, you know, the text editing and stuff like that. You know, Kyle's never been a super involved presence on any project.
And if anybody's wondering who Kyle Simpson is, he's an old musician friend of ours that we've known for years. He's also one of the main stars in our 10 series.
Yep.
Movies, right?
He plays Charles Williams in the BCU.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah. But, you know, he's never been a super involved presence on any of the projects, but he will dip in from time to time and share his brilliance. Because that's the thing, you know, he's just one of the best graphic designers that I've ever met.
Really?
Just period.
Okay.
And he has this thing that if he's motivated and he likes something that he's working on, he can do magic in minutes.
Really?
Like, if he's motivated and you ask him to do something, he can just work magic in just little to no time. And it's just so wonderful, and it makes it like, this dude's so talented. But if he's not motivated, if he's not really interested in it, if it's not really high on his priority, it'll be 2 or 3 months before you get anything out of him. And so you kind of need to pick your battles with him. And for this, I just needed him to do lower third graphics and, like, you know, opening credit stuff.
Right.
And he actually also, in the second season, he recorded the theme song.
Right. That's right.
And by, you know, it started airing on the local TV stations and the CW affiliated stations, and you know, in the beginning, that's always a big deal around here. I think we were on the front page of the newspaper and stuff like that. And then, like, within the first 2 months, nobody gave a shit anymore. You know, like,
definitely wasn't Duck Dynasty.
No. And the crazy thing is the Duck Dynasty guys were all friends with the Rednecks for Hire guys. They all grew up together. So I met those guys numerous times, and they were even on a couple of the sets, but they were very adamant, you can't show us on the set. We have contracts. We can't be seen in anything.
Yeah,
else.
we tried to get Uncle Si for something at one point, and they were like, "Oh no, he can't do anything. He's under contract. Can't do it." And I was like, "Okay, then."
You know, contracts are son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of refuse to sign them.
Right.
You know? I've managed to go 20-something years in the entertainment business, and I've only signed 2 contracts in my entire life.
Right.
So the first season was kind of a success, and we ended up getting like 2 or 3 more sponsors, and from those sponsors we were able to, like, hire more cameramen and stuff. Like, we had Fletch come and do an episode. We had Daniel Austin from the Imaginary Factory come and do a couple episodes.
Shout out to Fletch, another local musician we've known for years. Good dude.
And Daniel Austin.
Yeah, I don't know who that is personally.
All right, I'll give you. All right, you ever seen that stuff that Fletch is usually involved in? You know, the silly cop with the mustache.
Yeah,
that's Daniel Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And but halfway through the second season, like, and you remember the first season, we shot it from October to December of 2017, and it was airing simultaneously as we were filming it. You know, the next year, 2018, was season 2. We had a little bit more money and we had more time because we had a whole first season. We could air a couple of old episodes and then throw in a new episode every couple of weeks, you know, because you got to cover 52 weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot of weeks.
And that's with 9 episodes of season 1 plus whatever we were getting in season 2.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of repeat episodes. I think that probably killed us too, now that I think about it and say it all out loud, because halfway through 2018 we started losing sponsors, like dropping like flies. I think by the end of 2018, I think Allied Roofing and Magoo's Taxidermy were the only 2 sponsors that we had by the end of season 2. And I think it almost got so bad that Sharky didn't even get paid to do like the last 2 or 3 episodes of that season.
Oh, dang. Okay.
And he did not appreciate that. I didn't appreciate it either, but like the sponsorship money that they had by the end of season 2 was just enough to pay me to edit them and then air it on the TV stations, because you had to pay every week for it to air. For sure. And we got to look at the Nielsen ratings for season 1, and we were averaging about 5,000 people a weekend watching, which isn't terrible, but it's also not great, right. Like,
especially being on network TV.
Yeah, and I kept telling the guys, I was like, guys, we're spending almost $200 a week putting this on TV, and public broadcasting just really, it ain't what it was back in the day. People aren't watching public broadcasting anymore. People are on the internet and they're watching streaming. They're on YouTube. I was like, we already have a YouTube channel where we're releasing these episodes simultaneously with the thing. How about we kill the public broadcasting thing? And this, Dance. We could spend half of the money that we spend weekly on running ads every week for our YouTube episodes, and we would get more views than what we were on public broadcasting, which would bring in more sponsors. Exactly. It would bring in more everything. But these, David especially, these are there were older cats in their like 50s and stuff, and he was just so enamored with it being on television. Like, it was. I
mean, yeah, that's cool and everything, but if nobody's watching it,
exactly,
it doesn't really matter.
If you don't have an audience, you're just throwing $200 a week down the toilet,
right?
Because we're not getting any more money from sponsors. And I kept trying to pitch that idea to them, but they never ever wanted to do it. They just couldn't let go of airing on television. And so once that started happening, I realized that they weren't going to listen to my advice and they weren't going to listen to me. I just kind of like, all right, well then y'all do y'all's thing and y'all just make sure I get paid my money to do my job. And then by the time 2019 came around and we were doing the 3rd season, we only had one sponsor. It was Allied Roofing. That was it. And I was taking a pay cut. Originally, I was like getting paid $500 an episode to edit. By this point in time, I was getting paid $500 to do like 3 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And Sharky, he has a whole lot shorter fuse than I do on the amount of bullshit that he's willing to tolerate.
Right.
And so he came and did the first episode of season 1, but was very clear to David as soon as he got there. He was like, David, I'm doing this episode, and that is it. Do not call me again for any of the other ones unless you have $100 in your hand to give me.
Right.
And, and David,
hey,
that's fair.
Yeah, it really is.
That's fair. And so after that, we had no more crew anymore. And I told them, well, Mitch, you could come and do it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to come and do it because y'all can't pay me to come and do it. Like,
do this for free.
It'd be different. This was a project that was mine, that like I had control over, and my actions and my choices helped keep it going. That'd be one thing. But I'm just a dude here. You're
right.
calling the shots, so I mean.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I'm sure the viewers might be looking curious. What happened to the guys from Rednecks from Hire? Where are they at now?
We'll get to that. Because Some of them I don't know.
Right. Right.
But that last season after Sharky quit, we had no more crew. We had no more camera guys. We had no more sound guys. So, and I wasn't going to come out there on set.
Right.
So, the rest of season 3 was all shot with GoPros.
Okay.
The Rednecks all had GoPros on their heads. Charles would carry one around, and that also made sure that it was always going to be in focus.
Right.
You know, and talking about like what happened with everybody, I don't know all of the details, but I do remember that David and Kevin had a big falling out. I mean, I do remember both Mike and Kevin calling me like, "So Mitch, what do you think we should do with the show?" And I repeated once again, I think that we should kill the TV station shit and focus on the online presence. That's what we need to be doing. And they were like, okay. And then within 2 weeks, I got a phone call from them saying, "All right, man, the show's done. We're not doing it anymore."
Wow.
And but apparently Kevin and David had some kind of big falling out. It might have centered around a girl somewhere mixed up in there. I'm not 100%. I do remember that Kevin gave David one, and then the next thing I know, David moved to North Carolina.
Okay.
I tried to keep in touch with everybody. In fact, Kevin and Mike came and they played the Hunters in Bogman.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know that Mike is really big into coon hunting. He's got a bunch of coon hunting dogs that they go out in the woods and they do tournaments, and like he wins money hunting raccoons with his dog, and so I know he did that for a while. I know he does stuff with cars. That's actually the Rednecks for Hire guys is actually how I met Richard Henderson.
Okay.
It was in season 3 whenever they were doing the GoPro stuff, and they were like, "Hey Mitch, we got these 2 folks, Ryan and Richard, that are going to come and hold the GoPros for us while we shoot this car show." And I thought it was 2 dudes. I didn't know it was a married couple. Right. But I met Richard and Ryan at that car show, and yeah, here's another thing about Rednecks for Hire.
Some of our best friends now.
Yeah, now I mean Richard is one of my closest friends. He calls himself my heterosexual life mate. But the Rednecks for Hire show, the one big thing that happened that was the most positive thing was after David asked me to help produce and edit the shows and help them get filmed and everything. That was the official start of the Open Heart Productions LLC.
Okay. Because
I had to have a production company and I had to have an LLC to do it. So the first 3 seasons of Rednecks for Hire was the very first official thing that Open Heart Productions ever did.
Right.
That was the genesis, the beginning. And I almost died on the set of one of the episodes, and it was at Richard's house too. I almost never went back to Richard's house.
Oh, really?
This is like, so they had this dead, rotten wooden tree. Oh, it's all trees are wooden, I guess, but this dead tree that was out on their property, and that's a vast fucking property.
Right.
And so they go out there, and the plan is to blow the tree up with tannerite.
Okay.
All right, so what they did was they got a chainsaw, and they chainsawed a little, like, rectangle in the tree trunk, just big enough to put that tannerite, the whole thing of tannerite, not just a little bit, the whole fucking jug. They put it in there and then duct taped it around the tree.
Okay.
And then they backed up like 100 yards behind a four-wheeler and shot it with a fucking gun, and it would blow up and the tree would fall down. Right. Well, I didn't trust any of that. And so I was way back. And I had the zoom all the way in. And I was sitting there with the camera. I kind of got like a big thing of brush right here to my left. But like my head in the camera is exposed because I got to get the shot, right?
Right.
Kevin shoots the gun. Explosion. I feel a fucking sudden right past. Like I felt it on my ear. My hair like went up because I had long hair at the time. And I turned my head, and a piece of the bark about this long was embedded into the tree beside me.
Crap.
I was like, what the fuck? I dropped the camera. I'm going home. I ain't ever coming back out here. Y'all are fucking insane. I almost died. And I'm glad I didn't mean that, or else not only would I not made friends with Richard, but we would not have made any of these movies out there in this place. But
hopefully we'll be able to get Mike and them on, and
that's the plan.
Talk to them if we can.
Yeah. I would love to get David.
Yeah.
But like I said, think David is in North Carolina right now, and we're even going to do a couple of watch-alongs. We'll watch a couple of episodes, or we'll watch what I consider like my favorite episodes.
Or we could actually get them to do the watch-along.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
You know,
we gotta get Mike and Kevin in here talk about Bogman anyway, which I'm gonna say right now, whenever they had to memorize lines for that, I was impressed. I was like, oh, so y'all can memorize lines whenever y'all have to. Okay, cool. But it was one of those things that by March or April of 2019 we were done filming the season. And by summertime that year, the show was done. It was off the air.
Right.
And I was actually so relieved to be done with that show. Because just like Boo, it completely disenfranchised the whole filmmaking process to me.
Right.
Like, it was no longer fun. I hated it.
Yeah.
I was not having a good time, and the money was not worth it. But one thing that I know, or two things that I know that Rednecks for Hire did to benefit me was, one, I got to have Open Heart Productions because of it.
Yeah.
Two, I'm going to brag on myself here for a minute. I am one of the fastest editors that I even know. Like, I can edit an entire feature-length film from top to bottom in 10 days or less. And
except for me on these podcasts. I do them all in the same.
That's right. He does it all himself. I don't touch any of this shit editing-wise. But part of the reason that I know that I am so good and so fast at editing was because of Rednecks for Hire. Like, I had to be. Like, I couldn't pussyfoot around. Like, I had to get a 30-minute episode every week.
Well, I'm kind of giving my credit to you, too, because if it wasn't for you guys and hooking up at Open Heart Productions, I honestly wouldn't be as good at editing as I am now.
The only way you get good at it is to do it.
I dove into it a year ago, and now I've got so good at it, like it's nothing to you.
Yeah.
So...
The only way to get good at anything is just to do it over and over and over and over. And I literally edit footage every day. Yeah. My day job is I'm an editor at a TV station and a morning reporter. So literally every single day of my life for the past 15, 16 years, I have been sitting down in front of Adobe editing something. That's another reason why people ask me, like, well, you should really use DaVinci. That's going to be the next industry standard. And I'm like, I get that, but I've been on Adobe for the past 15 years, and there isn't a single thing on Adobe that I don't know how to do.
That's like me. I mean, it's cool to have all that stuff that's more fancy, but, man, I like doing it manual. To me, it's easier doing it manually than just sticking everything in a box and it automatically mixing it together. Mm-hmm. No, I want to listen and do it myself. I want to move that little cursor over.
I want to zoom in and find that one little spot so I can just get that little bit out and move.
That way I know, because even AI isn't 100% accurate.
AI will never be better than the human brain. Exactly. I promise you, it will never be better than the human brain.
And you can go in there and re-edit AI numerous times and tell them to say this, and they'll spell your words out, and you'll have like a E on the end of something that ain't supposed to have an E on it. Like, what? Anyways.
But yeah, And I also during this time I mentioned the Duck Dynasty folks, right? They had a shoot that they needed some PAs for during all this time, and they hired me and Sharky to go out there and work on it. And I got to see what a real professional Hollywood studio shoot was like and be a part of that. And I also hated that. I hated it. People were so shitty.
Yeah, there's nothing like doing stuff for yourself. Even our actors, the bigger name actors that came in to do our movies, told us they were amazed, and it was how awesome it was to be on set with us and the way we do everything.
And because I've seen it, no one gives a shit. No one helps anybody. No. Everybody blames everyone else for not having something done or done right. There's no sense of camaraderie. There is no sense of pride in your work. It's just kind of like going to a Walmart and seeing all the people at Walmart where they're just like, I'm clocked in, baby. I'm just trying to get my time. And
yeah, there's 10 of us standing over here, but you need some help? Okay, well, it'll be all right.
That's actually not my job. Right. So
I got hired for this, not that.
I'm actually part of the lighting crew, so I can't help you move your makeup over there. I know it's 200 yards, but I'm going to watch you do it, though. Have fun.
Right.
I don't like that. I hate that. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. And after 3 days of shooting, I was asking the production manager, I'm like, so what is this that we're shooting? Is it a pilot for their new show? Or, we've been working pretty hard here. And they're like, oh, no, this is just going to be a 90-second commercial. What?
Yeah.
We've been out here for 3 days and y'all have like 16 fucking trucks and campers and all this. The camera was so fucking big, it took 3 people to carry it, to put it on the fucking tripod.
Holy crap.
And I'm like, how much money is getting spent on this? They're like, oh, probably close to $700,000-$800,000. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Commercial.
Now, granted, it did end up being a Super Bowl commercial.
Oh yeah, I get that because I know for a fact because I've heard the story behind the commercials on the Super Bowl. Companies pay millions of dollars for seconds for a commercial during the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's ridiculous. That's why you see all these new commercials coming out during the Super Bowl, because they're actually doing like a contest too. They actually pay people for having the best thing during the Super Bowl.
So between the Redneck for Hire show and the shit with the Duck guys on their Super Bowl commercial, I was once again fucking done with this whole film business stuff. I realized that, like, man, if this is the industry standard, if this is the way that it is, I don't want really anything to do with that.
That's why it's so great to be doing this on your own.
If you're going to do something, do it your fucking way.
Right.
Now, it's good, like, I make this analogy a lot. I'm like, yes, you do need to learn the proper way. You do need to learn the industry standard way. It's like a clockmaker, a wristwatch clockmaker. You have to know how the clock is made before you go up in there and start fucking shit up and doing things differently, or else you'll fuck the whole thing up. So I did have to learn it the proper way. It was just that when I learned it the proper way, I was like, man, this proper way sucks.
Right.
And so I actually, by summertime, keep in mind, while I'm doing the Rednecks for Hire show, the 17, 18, and 19, keep in mind I have Open Heart Productions, but then I also have Open Heart Records, a subsidiary underneath it as well. And I'm doing the Mitch Lang Band while during this time, and we're releasing an album every year and doing a tour every year while I'm also doing this stuff with the show. And so I was, once they told me the show was done, and also another cool thing is during that time as well, not only was the Mitch Lang Band signed to Open Heart Records, but Stuck on 45 from Austin came on, Beaver from Denton, Texas came on, the Dead Tchotchkes from Lufkin, Texas came on. We talked about stuff with the Marrows from Arkansas, and I had a bunch of things in the fire. I had the TV show and I had music. So once I realized I was sick and tired of all this TV shit, I was very much looking forward to going back to doing music.
Right.
And the Mitch Lang Band, we recorded the Hokage album at the end of that year, and we were getting ready and excited that spring of 2020 we're going to release the album and go on tour with Green Jello.
Right.
And we all remember what happened in spring of fucking 2020.
COVID.
And if you don't remember, your ass was locked in the house.
Yep.
I was fortunate that my job was considered essential. So I had to go to work no matter what.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate too, because when everybody else was shut down, I still had a job. I was working for Palm Beach Tan at the time, working on tanning beds. Pretty awesome job, but yeah, I still got a chance to work.
First of all, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you worked on tanning beds.
Yeah, I did used to work on tanning
But then my next question is, how busy was the tanning beds during COVID?
Actually, they still stayed open, but everybody had to wear a mask. It was one of the companies where you had to wear a mask.
But all right, okay, I get that. But by definition and design, you're getting closed into something that you have to sit in for a while. Did people come and they clean it?
They cleaned it
all right,
every time, no matter what. But whenever COVID was going on, they had to extra clean.
Yeah, they had to get in there and put the elbow grease out.
Right. But yeah, they were still going.
So, COVID, to me, honestly, kind of was. I know not everybody thinks this way, but COVID was kind of a blessing for me. Not the sickness and the mass deaths or anything like that. I'm not, I don't consider any of that a blessing or anything like that. But I mean, as you can tell from these stories for the past, 3 years, I had been just every day going, and I was forced to stop. Because I couldn't go do music, couldn't play anywhere. Yeah. The only thing that you could do is shoot music videos if everybody in your band was brave enough to come out. Yeah. And I didn't have the TV show stuff anymore, so I literally, the only focus that I had was my mental health and my job and my family that I had with me, trapped in the house. And that year was a very much needed mental break for me, because once I get going, I refuse to stop or slow down, because I know that the second momentum stops, yeah. And you don't know if you're ever going to be able to get that momentum again. So unless I am forced to, I do not take breaks. I do not take vacations. I do not, I get out my pleasure as I work. That's why I probably would be considered to have a drinking problem. Because it's a lot of stimulus, and it's a lot of voices, and it's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of weight all the time. And the alcohol helps.
Hey, to each their own.
And so does the weed. But I am not confirming nor denying that I smoke weed.
I'm legal, so I can say it. Anyways.
But that brings us all the way to the end of Rednecks for Hire. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about, manipulating chaos. I learned how the Nelson's ratings board works. I learned how archaic public broadcasting is. And I also got a pretty good crash course introductory into how shitty all of the businesses and people around here in Monroe and West Monroe are.
Yeah, the support is kind of about...
What support?
It's kind of like 10% when it comes to support.
I have never...
Well, I mean, I'm talking about our food sponsors.
Oh yeah. I mean...
There's some support, but there's no support, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you dig
right.
and dig and like go out there, pound the pavement, go out there, knock on people's doors, you blow up their phones, their emails. If you dig, you might can find 2 or 3 people that will help you out the best you can. But for the most part, I have learned through hard, real in-person experience. I mean, how many lawyers, how many doctors, how many businesses did we go to?
A bunch. And most of them they'll set appointments up with you to talk to you about whatever you got going on.
But then the day of,
they disappear. Or either they'll tell their secretary, "Oh, I'm not here.
I'm not here."
I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Or it's like, or leave you on read.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you on read. They'll read your message, but they won't say nothing.
I have never seen a community that talks so much shit
about
supporting local and about supporting the arts and standing on their soapboxes with their peacock feathers out and on platitudes of helping the community.
Gatekeepers.
But whenever it comes time to actually, everybody wants to help. But then whenever it comes time to actually help,
right,
you will be surprised how quickly of a graveyard you look around and find.
And I'm one to say we're here to support anybody locally, no matter what.
That's always been my goal.
You help us out, we're gonna help you out.
That's always been my goal.
I mean, that's the way it should be.
Whenever when we started the movies and started picking up momentum, originally I was like, yeah, let's help put Monroe like on the map, and let's we have a silver platter opportunity for this town that say, oh, we want this to be a mecca for film and arts. Okay, here's the avenue. Right. We have it. We have guaranteed distribution. We have guaranteed movies, guaranteed work coming into this town every single year. We just need financial help. Just please help us. Get the fuck out of here. No, we had a bad quarter.
For the ones that did help us out. Fox's Pizza.
Joel's.
Fiesta on
18th and American Mattress Outlet. Those are the only 4 businesses. And American Mattress Outlet has been our #1 helper since Bogman.
I can mention a few others, not the only. LDCC. Louisiana Delta Community College has been right there with us for the last few years that I've been involved in this.
Yep.
And they're awesome. They let us do it and play our movies there. They set up events for us. They let us be a part of their events.
And it's kind of the one thing that I've noticed is that the people that you can find in this town that are actually willing to put dollar bills where their mouth is and put out resources where their mouth is. Have you noticed that those people, even within the community, are also the misfit toys of that community?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Like, the people that are willing to work with us are not the main people in charge of businesses and commerce and governance in this town. It's the people on the scourges that these same people that are rejecting us are also rejecting them and not helping them and not including them. And that's why I've always been so proud of Open Heart.
It's kind of like we're in a Lizards Club. We got our own little thing going on over here. Another thing I would like to do, I'd like to have a shout out for Donnie Griffith and Benjamin Robinson on their
Washa Talk
podcast, where they're talking with local musicians and people, that have been around since back in the day, doing all the music and and the stuff in the community. So if you can, go check out their new podcast. I think their second episode comes out next week.
Yep.
But I guess that's it for episode number 7. You can still go check us out on YouTube, Spotify. We got a Facebook page, TikTok. Check all that out, and we'll stay tuned for the next episode.